I am going to go through with you how to knit the grill stitch pattern. This is the front and this is the reverse. This is a slip stitch pattern which requires 2 yarns. It's really super important that you keep your floats when we're slipping stitches really loose. To do this, I have 2 colours. We're going to cast on. It's going to be a multiple of 3 stitches plus an edge stitch either side. So to cast on, we're just going to cast on as normal with a slip knot. And I'm going to use the cable method of casting on. So I'm going to cast on 20 stitches, so that's 18, which is the multiple of 3, and 1 edge stitch either side. So now I have 20 stitches cast on in one colour. This will be our kind of grill colour, so the one of the navy blue. To work the grill stitch pattern, we're going to work 2 edge stitches, so one at the start and one at the end, and then we'll work our repeats in the middle. So I've cast on in one colour and I'm going to go straight into the grill stitch. You can do set up rows if you want, but we can go straight into the grill stitch, which is row 1 is knit 1 for our edge stitch, and then with the yarn in back we're going to slip 1 and then knit 2, and we're going to repeat that to the last stitch. So slip 1, and as I slip this 1 and then go into knit these 2, I'm going to make sure that this float that's sat behind that slip stitch is nice and loose. If it's too tight, all your stitches are going to be way too tight and you're not going to see your pattern. So make sure you're keeping hold of your yarn really loosely. Using a larger needle for this won't work. It needs to be you controlling your floats. So slip 1 with yarn in back, knit 2, slip 1 with yarn in back, knit 2, and then I'm at my last one, which is just my edge stitch, so just knit 1. Now for row 2 in the orange. So we work 2 rows in each colour. We're going to purl our edge stitch. You can knit your edge stitch or slip it. Now we're going to purl 2, and then with yarn in front of work, so yarn nearest us, we're going to slip that blue one again. Purl 2, and then slip that one. Make sure this float across the back of your slip stitch is nice and loose. Purl 2, with yarn in front, slip 1. At my last stitch, so I'm just going to purl. Now for row 3, which is the first row that we're going to be working our blue yarn, or our almost contrast colour, so the grill stitch. We're going to knit our first stitch, which is just our edge stitch, and then we're going to knit this one, keeping our yarn at the back. Now we're going to create this kind of float across these stitches here, which will create the kind of box along that way. So we've knitted 1 with yarn in front, so we're bringing our yarn to the front, slip 2, you can slip 1 and then 2, and then take your yarn to the back and knit 1. So again, bring yarn to the front, slip 2, with yarn in back, knit 1. With yarn in front, slip 2, with yarn in back, knit 1. And then with yarn in front, slip the last 2, move the yarn back and just knit the edge stitch. Now on the return row, we're going to purl, knit, slip, whatever you want to do with your edge stitch. And then with the yarn in front, so on the purl side, we're going to hold it over here and we're going to slip 2. And then purl 1. Keeping those floats really loose. So we're keeping the blue yarn facing us this time. Purl our last one and then purl the edge stitch. So I will do a couple more repeats of this and I will come back to you to show you it. So in total here I have now done 3 repeats of the grill stitch. As you can see, those floats are sat quite neatly across the front. If you've been following along with our mystery knit along, you will be having this grill stitch pattern in it. The only variation will be at the end of your row where you are working the increase. Just follow the pattern for that. But that is generally how you do the grill stitch pattern, and that's the reverse. Not as pretty, however it doesn't look like the reverse of Fair Isle or anything like that, so you could use it on a scarf. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I will see you again very soon. Take care and happy crafting. Bye!